So it's just a quick video on gun disarms. It's a video I've been wanting to do for a while. Obviously got a bit more time on my hands now, so I thought I'd go ahead and just talk about it a little bit. There's a lot of skepticism around gun disarms, and I think that's 100% justified. There's a lot of nonsense on YouTube and in other places, different self-defense systems, etc., that teach things that really, if the person fights back in any way, you generally end up, you'd lose the weapon. Okay, but obviously the problem is a lot of organisations are training to grades, so they're training to moves rather than training to reality. People that know me know that I have a no-nonsense approach with a lot of training. There is even with the way we train, there is a very high failure rate anyway with the way that we train as well. So let alone what other people are training and the stupid tip-tap disarms. We don't train for that. My perspective on it is it's fighting to get the gun. That's the way I sort of talk. It's not fight. It's not a gun disarm. It's fighting to get the gun, because that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be a scramble. It's going to be all over the place. The gun disarm is like the last mechanical bit. Once you have a position where you can then gain leverage and take that weapon away from them. Firearm disarms are fine motor skill, so it involves fingers, involves grabbing small areas and things like that. So it has a high failure rate because of the heart rate and things like that. You know, and being able to recall things and under pressure. So it is a problem. As well, I don't really think that you should put that much emphasis on them if you're not going to train realistically, in terms of if you don't have an understanding of what they sound like. That's something you just can't prepare for. I had hearing damage for years from a pistol itself. So if you've never heard them up close and what they sound like, you can know all the disarms you like in the world. But if that goes bang and you're not expecting it, you know, you're potentially going to get a flinch from that. Having said that, though, I think you should train them and you should have an understanding of them. Some people should train them more often. Obviously, if you live in the States, places where firearms are more likely to be available, then yes, you should have much more of an understanding of it. In the UK, obviously, our main focus is knives, but gun crime is on the rise. And you know, it's not to say that you don't travel abroad somewhere on holiday or whatever, and you end up with a firearm situation. The same as sort of knife threats. Gun threats, being threatened with a gun, there's only certain situations you should be looking to engage anyway, and that pretty much is either going to be a kidnapping. So a kidnapping to where the point is that you know that the outcome is going to be bad in some sort of way, as in if you don't act there and then death is pretty much guaranteed, or some sort of really miserable existence, torture, things like that. So really, in that first instance, maybe your only chance to do anything, so that potentially could be a reason why you train it. It could be active killer situations, terrorist situations that we're seeing a lot now as well. Again, yes, you can run high tail, as the UK government likes to say, but that says to me you're not involved. So if you can run away, hide and tell, you're not involved in the actual incident. If someone's clearing room to room through your office building, then your only chance of survival might be to either barricade or you're going to have to charge the threat. And again, having an understanding of how to do that is going to potentially pay dividends. It could be, if you are an armed person, whether you're armed police or maybe close protection, something like that, it could be a weapons retention issue. It could be that it's taken off of you in a struggle, and the ability to disarm it straight back is what you're going to need, so it can't be used against you. So that's another side of it. And just purely to understand decision making. Just because you know a move doesn't mean that there's an opportunity available, and that's again part of what we drill and what we train. It's not always, you know, depending on what he's doing. So for example, if I've got the weapon here, if it's into the hip and pushing like so, well, I know really I've got no business attempting anything here. Same distance, if I'm stood away this sort of distance, again I can't, if I'm without side of arm's reach, again nothing I can do. But if he's pushing and he pushes with a weapon, well then maybe that gives me an opportunity to then start to work from there. There's a couple of myths as well, and one is that they won't come close. That's not true, because either environment will dictate that, so they've got nowhere else to go, so they have to come close. Or again, it could be just for just intimidation purposes. So if you know, it could be just right in your face because they want you to see it and they want you to feel intimidated, so you do as you're told for example. So that could be a reason for that as well. And obviously just pure untrained, being an amateur as well is another reason. They just don't understand distance, things like that. But having said that, even if you look at armed police, especially in the UK, they still come close. They work obviously certain tactics and swarm tactics, there's loads of them, but they're still close. So don't sit there and think, well, that never happens, because that's not true. That's more of a military mindset, because we tend to work, most regular infantry units anyway, in forest areas and things like that, where no, you're never going to come close. Urban areas, it's a completely different ballgame. So understand that. Another sort of myth as well is you can't beat the bullet. Well, it's not a myth, but that's true. Obviously you can't beat the speeding bullet, but I'm not trying to. I'm trying to beat his decision making process. He's got a lot of stuff to think about. So again, when we see rigid gun disarm here, that's not true either necessarily. They could be shouting at you, trying to grab things, moving you. Remember, we're talking all about kidnappers and things, not mugging. So if it's mugging, you give it up ideally. But moving, pushing, maybe looking around and seeing what's happening as well. There's generally two types of situations, the way I see it. You've got overt or covert situations. Overt is going to be there, it's a round robbery type thing, it's out, it's quick, they're moving, big arm movements, aggressive and things like that. So that's more of an overt situation. But in built up cities like London, etc., it may be more covert, where it's going to be kept hidden, maybe hidden by a jacket. They are going to stand a lot closer to you, and it's going to be more static. So a lot of people say, oh, it will never be static, it will never be. Again, that really depends on situation and where you are and what you do. It's important to remember that I think that gun disarms they have more of a credibility than knife disarms. So as much as I can fight a bit better with the knife in terms of I can get control of it better, I don't like the idea of knife disarms. Knife disarms really should come about way of them being fully under control and pinned to the ground, and they drop it voluntarily or they're made unconscious. With a gun disarm, as long as I can keep it offline, then you're in a bit of a better position to start manhandling it, start working, and go from there. So just remember, you're looking to redirect, counter, control, and then take away. And the biggest thing about all this is anything, is train properly, and then you'll start to get an understanding of how these things work. So there's a quick video at the end of this here, just shows a quick snippet of one of our demos in class. So, as some of you find, I like the control once you're here, it's really good. But it's getting here, and obviously it's under pressure and it's moving and all over sort of thing here, and I've got to go through it and I miss it, or it pulls, it's always a bit of a problem. That's why it's hard, it's fine motor skill. Okay. But that's real disarm, so I mean, it's not really fucking, it's getting to a position where it's offline and then fight. Make sense? With it and that'll be very submissive, all this sort of thing here. And you're waiting for an opportunity, maybe you may not have one. So don't think, I know a move, I can go for it. I may not. I'm wary of this because he's pushing me, so I know that I can't go in necessarily unless something happens with that arm. So if he hits me or he takes it off, then go from here and then try and work from this position. That way, this is a little bit better. You can see where it is. Makes sense. I can start driving from here. Put pressure on the shoulder. Get from here, and then we just start looking to go from there. Alright, but it's not ideal. Like I said, guns, massive failure rate with them.